Dear students, welcome to Biology Second PUC class. We are studying organisms and populations. In that lesson, so many things we have studied. Today will be the last class of that lesson, in which we are going to revise the whole lesson what we have studied in the earlier classes. At the beginning, we have studied the definition of the ecology. I repeat, the definition of ecology. It is the study of interactions among organisms and between the organisms and its physical environment, called the ecology. I repeat once again, ecology is the study of interaction among the organisms and between the organisms and its physical environment. Ecology is concerned with the 4 levels of biological organization. Ecology is concerned with 4 levels of biological organization. They are organisms, populations, communities, biomass. Ecology is concerned with 4 levels of biological organization. They are organisms, population, communities, biomes. Organisms and its environment. Physiological ecology. Ecology at the organismic level explains how different organisms are adapted to their environments in terms of survival and reproduction. The rotation of the earth and the tilt of its axis causes annual variation in temperature and seasons. Major biomes like desert, rainforest, tundra, etc. are formed due to these variation and precipitation like rain and snow. The regional variation or the local variations within each biome lead to the formation of different habitats. On Earth, life exists even in extreme and harsh habits. Example, Rajasthan desert, rain-soaked Meghalaya forest, deep ocean trenches, torrential streams, polar regions, high mountain tops, thermal springs, and compost pits. Our intestine is habitat for many microbes. The physicochemical components, water, light, temperature, soil, etc. and biotic components, pathogens, parasites, predators, competitors, etc. lead to variation of different habitats. Some of the abiotic factors we have studied, in which one of that is the temperature. It is the most ecologically relevant environmental factor. The average temperature on land varies seasonally. It gradually decreases from equator toward the poles. At the equator, moderate temperature will be there. As I move from equator to the poles, the temperature reduces. That also we have studied. We have also studied the average temperature of the earth. That we also studied the eurythermal animals and stenothermal animals. Eurythermal animals are the type of animals which can tolerate and thrive in a wide range of temperature. Stenothermal type of organisms are the type of organisms they can tolerate only a narrow range of temperature. And next abiotic factor that we have studied is the water. Next to temperature, water is most important factor influencing the life of organisms. Life on earth originated in water, we have studied. Water is very limited in desert. Therefore, some of the organisms which are living in the desert place have been adapted themselves to survive over there without the water. Based on the range of tolerance to the salinity, organisms are of 2 types. One is called the euryhaline and another one is called the stenohaline. Euryhaline are the type of organisms that can tolerate a wide range of salinities. Stenohaline are the type of organisms that cannot tolerate the wide range of salinity. They can tolerate only a narrow range of salinity. And the next type of abiotic factor that we have studied is the light. Plants need sunlight for photosynthesis. Small forest plants like herbs and shrubs are adapted to the photosynthesize optimally under low temperature. Some of them need very high temperature. Some of them need the salinity. Like that, it varies. Sun is the ultimate source for the light and temperature. This also we have studied. The temperature varies on the earth also we have studied. And the next type of abiotic factor that is there is soil. The nature and the properties of soil in different places vary. It is dependent on the climate, the weathering process, sedimentation, method of soil developed, etc. Various characters of the soil composition, grain size, and aggregation determine the percolation and water holding capacity of the soil also we have studied. Next topic that we have studied is responses to abiotic factors. How the organism respond to the abiotic factor. Organisms maintain a constant internal environment called the homeostasis despite a varying external environmental condition. One of the response that is being shown by the organism is regulate, confirm, migrate, suspend. When it comes to the regulate, it is the maintenance of the homeostasis by physiological and behavioral means. These organisms can maintain the constant body temperature, can maintain the osmotic concentration also. All birds and mammals are the examples this we have studied. Thermoregulation is there in the mammals. They have developed the capacity to maintain their body temperature in a constant manner. That also we have studied. Some of the organisms which are living in the cold climatical area, how they have been adapted. Small birds, small animals will not live over this snow or the temperature were very less because the reason also we have studied. The next type of response to abiotic factor is confirm. 99% of the animals and nearly all plants cannot maintain a constant body temperature. Therefore, they have got adjusted to the surrounding temperature. Body temperature or osmotic concentration changes with the surrounding condition. They are called the conformers. These are the organisms whose body temperature can change according to the surrounding. These are the organisms whose osmotic concentration can change according to the outside temperature, outside concentration. Therefore, they are called the conformer species, we said. And another type of response to the abiotic factor that we have studied is migrate. Migration is moving from one place to another place temporarily for a short period of time. When that place is having the harsh climatical condition, to escape from that, some of the organisms move away from that place and they come back once when the harsh climatical condition gets over. In this, one of the example that we have studied is the Siberian crane, which moves miles together, kilometers together. It will go and come back to its place after the harsh climatical condition gets over. This also we have studied. Some of the organisms suspend their activities. You see some of the fungal spores, seeds. These undergo the process of suspend. In the suspend, some of the animals undergo the process of hibernation and estivation. Spending the winter in a dormant state is called the hibernation. Spending the summer in dormant state is called the estivation. Hibernation and estivation also we have studied. And as these, the organisms which cannot do all these four types, they have adapted themselves to survive. And the next topic is the adaptation. In this adaptation, it is the morphological, physiological, and behavioral attributes that enables an organism to survive and reproduce in its habitat. I repeat once again. It is the morphological and physiological and behavioral attributes that enables an organism to survive and reproduce in its habitat. In that, many of the examples we have studied. We have studied one of the example is adaptation of kangaroo rat. How it is being adapted. Adaptation of the desert plant. One of the example that we have taken is the cactus. How it is adapted at the desert place. One of the example of the mammal that we have studied is the camel, how it is adapted to the desert place. One of the adaptation that is there is the seal, how it is being adapted at the colder climatical conditions. This also we have studied. These organisms have undergone the adaptation to survive themselves. Another one is physiological and biochemical adaptation. Some of the organisms have undergone. When you see Archaeobacteria, which are found in hot springs and deep seas, hydrothermal vents where temperature is more than 100 degrees Celsius. At that temperature also these can survive. Many fishes where the temperature is below 0 degrees Celsius can also survive. Many marine invertebrates and fishes which can live greater depths in the ocean where the pressure is more than 100 times than the normal pressure of the earth. So like that, some of the physiological and biochemical adaptations that the animals have undergone. Same physiological and biochemical adaptation is also seen in the human being. Altitude, sickness, what we say. The person who is living in the high altitude will be having the more RBCs count than the normal person who is living on the earth. That also we have studied. What are the changes that will be there in them? What are the symptoms that we can find? That also we have studied. Another type of adaptation is that behavioral adaptation, which we see in the desert. Lizard bask in the sunlight and go to the shaded area during the cold time, during the hot time. Also we have studied behavioral adaptation, behavioral changes that is there for that. And also we have studied the population. The definition for the population is it is the changes in time, the population changes in time. It does not remain same. So definition for the population is a population is a group of individuals of same species that live in a given geographical area, share or compete for similar resources and potentially reproduce. I repeat once again, a population is a group of individuals of same species that live in a given geographical area, share or compete for similar resources and potentially reproduce. In this, we have studied taking into examples population ecology. Some of the population attributes also we have studied. There are 4 attributes that makes the difference in the population. One of the attribute is natality, mortality, immigration, and the emigration. These are the 4 basic processes that fluctuate the population density. Because of these, there will be changes. One of the example how to calculate the per capita birth rate, how to calculate, death rate, how to calculate. There are some of the examples are given. Questions are also asked to you. Some of the questions given you as assignment to calculate birth rate and death rate. In this case, one of the example that is given for the calculation of the birth rate is, in a pond there are 20 lotus plants last year, and through reproduction 8 new plants are added. Then calculate the birth rate. The current population is 28, so the birth rate will be calculated as this. So now new plants that are added, then earlier how many plants were there, now how many are produced is the answer. 0.4 offsprings per lotus per year. Like that, birth rate can be calculated. Death rate, per capita deaths is called death rate. Also, we have calculated the death rate. One of the example that is given is 4 individuals in a laboratory population of 40 fruit flies died during a week. Calculate the death rate. That is how many died divided by how many were there. We can get the number of death rates per fruit fly per week. Some of the examples that are given. Sex ratios. Population has a sex ratio. Example, 60% of the population is females and 40% of the population is males. Population sex ratio or sex rate varies from state to state. Age pyramid also we have studied. It is the structure obtained when the age distribution is plotted for the population. It is the population age pyramid that we have studied. When the age pyramid will be expanding, when the age pyramid will be stable, when the age pyramid is declining. This also I have given you question to draw the expanding population, stable population, and declining population. you need to show me in the pyramid manner. I have asked you for 2 more questions. So this many of you have done. This is one of the population attribute. Population size and population density. It is the number of individuals of a species per unit area or volume is called the population density. It is given population density. Some of the circumstances are being given when we can take into account of population size, when we have to take into account of population density, that we have studied in our previous classes. I am revising it because already we have studied these topics. So direct count, indirect count, how can we calculate the by population? There are some of the different methods. Head count, go to we human being population is being counted with head count. We go to home, count their heads, number of members are, how many members are there in that particular house. Each house we go in a colony, in a area, in a village, in a taluka, in a district, in a state, in the nation. We will get that data, so that we can easily identify a definite population who are living in the particular area. So that is head count. Some of the organisms we cannot do that. Fecal matter we count. Like that, tiger population, when we are counting fecal matters, we go for that. There are different techniques to calculate the population. So population density may increase, population density may decrease. Overall population growth will be there. Population growth in a positive manner will be there when natality and immigration is there of more. Population growth will be in negative manner when mortality and immigration is more in that. So to calculate the population density at a given time, NT plus 1 is equal to NT plus birth plus immigration, death plus immigration is the formula that to calculate that. And in the population growth, there are 2 models we have studied. One of the model is exponential growth. This is one of the important question that is being asked for 5-mark question. Exponential growth curve and logistic growth curve. This exponential growth curve, we can get it when the limited resources is there, and the logistic growth, exponential growth curve can be obtained when unlimited resource is there. Sorry, remember, exponential growth curve will be obtained when unlimited resources is available. You can see a red mark in the graph where it is going straight away, expanding, unlimited resources is available. We get that exponential growth curve. We get logistic growth curve when resources becomes limited. That is the difference. When resources becomes limited, it falls down. What we say it as K, that K is called carrying capacity. Many of the times I asked what is carrying capacity. So that is when the resources becomes limited. We get this graph in the logistic growth curve. Logistic growth curve is more realistic compared to the exponential growth curve, because in nature, the resources will not be unlimitedly available. Sometime at one point of time, the resource becomes limited, definitely. Therefore, logistic growth curve is more realistic compared to the exponential growth curve. This also we have studied many of the times. So after this is one of the formula that you can see, growth models, what we say. And the last content of this lesson that we have studied is the population interaction. Population interaction, there are some of the examples that they have given. One of the example is mutualism, competition, predation, parasitism, commensalism. I briefly tell you once again, mutualism is a type of interaction between the 2 organisms where one organism is benefited and other organism also benefited. Mutually, they both get benefited is called mutualism. Both the species benefited in this case. So best definition you can see is, you can say is mutualism is a type of interaction between the 2 organisms where both the organisms are benefited and none of the organism is harmed. That is the mutualism. One best example you can give is lichens. One best example you can give is lichens. Another best example you can give is mycorrhiza. Next one is competition. Competition is a type of interaction between the 2 organisms where both the organisms are harmed, because competition increases for the same resources. When competition increases for the same resource, one day the resources gets over, therefore both the will die off because of the starvation, because of the hungry. So both the organisms are harmed in this case. None of the organism is benefited. That is called the competition. One of the example that is given is tortoise, which are living in the Galapagos Island, got extinct decades because goats were introduced. So one thing you must remember, competition may happen within the same species. Competition may happen between the same species. In the case that I read the example, tortoise and goats, two different species where the competition is increasing for the same resource. Competition may also increase group of elephants. High number of elephants are living in a particular geographical area. Competition also increases in that case. Barnacles example, two similar species, same species. Two species of barnacles are fighting for the same resources. They get vanished one day. That is competition. Another type of example, another type of interaction is the predation. Predation is a type of interaction between the two organisms where one organism is benefited and the other organism is being harmed. Prey and predator relationship. You can take the example of a rat and cat. Rat and cat is the best example you can give from your home. There cat is benefited and rat is harmed or it is killed off. That is the predation. Prey and predator relationship is called the predation, in which one organism benefited, other organism is harmed or it is completely killed off. As you can killed off. You can see next one, parasitism. What is the difference between the predation and parasitism when symbols are same? One benefited, other harmed, same only. But in the predation, the organism is completely killed off. You remember, in parasitism, it is not. For example, on my head, lice are there. Me and lice is a parasitism. The lice takes the food from my head, but I will not die. I will not die. So that is one of the Plasmodium vivax, which is there in my body. It gets food from me, but I will not die. Elephantiasis, filaria worm, which is there at my foot, it starts taking the food from my leg, but I will not die. So, but surely I am harmed. Surely I am harmed. That organism has got benefited, host is harmed. Parasite has got benefited, host is harmed in this case. So parasitism is a type of interaction between the two organisms where one organism is benefited and either other organism is harmed. And another type of interaction that we have is the commensalism. Commensalism is a type of interaction between the two organisms where one organism is benefited and other organism is neither benefited nor harmed. You can give the example of penicillium. We extract the penicillium from the Penicillium notatum plant, and when it is injected into the human being body, it stops the growth of the bacteria. When I extract the penicillium from the Penicillium notatum, it is not harmed. The plant will not get harmed, but obviously that when I inject it into my body, it stops the growth of the bacteria. So bacteria got harmed because of that. So I got benefited. Commensalism is one is benefited and other is unaffected. Sorry, this example is shark and suckerfish. I'm sorry, commensalism is shark and suckerfish you can give, or cow and egret you can give the example, where one is benefited, other is neither benefited nor harmed. I told you the shark carrying the suckerfish on its back, or the when shark is eating, the food is being fallen off, the suckerfishes will come near to the shark's mouth and start eating the split out food material. Does not matter for the shark because huge amount of food is eaten, little amount of food is that is falling down is catched up by this suckerfish. Same way, the crow is grazing the grass. At that time, some of the insects will fly over that. When insects are flying out of the grass, these egrets starts eating out. That will not harm the cows, buffaloes, ox. So cattle and egret is best example of commensalism. Suckerfish, shark is best example of commensalism. Therefore, commensalism is a type of interaction between the two organisms where one organism is benefited and other organism is neither benefited nor harmed. Commensalism is a type of interaction where one organism is harmed and other organism is unaffected. For this, you can give the example of penicillium. Previously I gave the example penicillium. I extract penicillium from the Penicillium notatum plant, and it is injected. It will stop the growth of the bacteria. Bacteria has got affected. Penicillium notatum plant has not got affected when I extract the penicillium from it. So that is another. One more example you can give: roots of black walnut secretes the zoglin so that it will stop inhibit the ripening of the tomatoes, apple. One is harmed, other is neither benefited nor harmed. This is one of the interaction called the MNCism. By this, the whole lesson is being revised once again. In the next class, when we are going to, when we will be studying the next chapter called the ecosystem, that will be the 14th chapter of the unit called ecology for your syllabus. So ecosystem will be the next lesson that we will be studying in the next class. Hopefully you have understood. I did it a little fast because already we have studied. Let me see how many of you have understood. In the next session, I will be giving you the questions of 3 marks and 5 marks. You need to answer from this lesson. So enjoy yourself. Thank you all of you. And let us wait for the study of ecosystem, which is the 14th chapter of the ecology unit. Thank you all of you once again.